Trachtenberg with Figure It Out Baseball. I'm the recruiting coordinator at Westchester University, and I also get to hit our infield-outfield prior to our games. I wanted to spend a little bit of time discussing with you how you can take advantage of this infield-outfield time and tell you a little bit about what we do and what you would see if you came to one of our games. The first thing that you want to consider is a little bit about the game situation, the field that you're playing on, the time of year, how your players are physically feeling. Early season for us, if we're playing on a surface we haven't been used to, so we might be on turf and we're used to playing on grass, or vice versa, we might want to really tinker with what we're trying to do with infield-outfield to make sure we maximize the number of reps that we're getting. So we may have a set routine we like to do every time, but we definitely adjust this as we need to. Another idea would be if we're playing several games in a row, and perhaps a tournament setting or during a long trip, and arms might be a little bit sore, we may cut back on the throwing or not throw at all during an IO session, just to make sure we're saving our energy, saving our arm strength for the game setting. We want to communicate that to our players before they head out to their positions, just like we want to communicate to our players if they're doing multiple positions. So you're going to take some reps in right field and then you're going to come in and take reps at first base. Again, communicate that to your players, remind them to have both gloves with them, little things of that nature. So generally we do start with our outfielders receiving fungos from me somewhere in the middle of the infield, and we just go left field, center field, right field, and just have them throw to second base, then throws to third base, and throws home. I try and vary what type of balls they're getting hit to them, and also based on what the surface is. So if I think it's a tough ground surface, a natural surface, I may try and put more balls on the ground to get them used to that a bit. If it's a tough sky, a really cloudy day, I might try and put more balls in the air for them. But I'll vary that, again, based on the day. After that, our outfielders will receive fungos from another coach or even some of our pitchers. Those pitchers will go out with fungos, and if possible, we like them to stand on the edge of the infield so they're hitting directly to those players in their positions, rather than having all the players go to center field and receive balls from a foul line, which isn't really a true read from like they would do during a game. For our infielders, we like to do throws to home for all infielders, with infielders up and the catcher going with a force play at the plate. Then we'll go around the horn from third base across, just getting one. We'll add in a throw down from the catcher with a one in cover, so ground ball to third baseman throws to first, and then we'll have the pitcher, a pitcher up close who will feed the catcher will throw down to third off of the throw from the pitcher, and again we'll continue that around the horn. We'll do a round of double plays, a round of deep balls, and then a round of short balls, do or die plays. But we'll vary this again depending on the surface, the time of day, things of that nature. So with that in mind, if we feel like it's early in the season and maybe we're on turf for the first time, we may bring out two coaches, or a coach and again maybe that extra pitcher, and I'll hit to one side of the infield, and maybe I'm just hitting to the second baseman and the first baseman, and the other person is hitting to third base and second base. We want to maximize the number of ground balls that they're getting. We can shift our players around a bit if we want to, where they might play in a game setting. Again, just to maximize the ground balls that they're getting, compared to hitting one ball to the third baseman and everybody else is just waiting their turn. Another element we like to bring into infield-outfield is our first baseman, not just standing at the bag and receiving throws, but playing the regular depth position, or if it's returning two, they're basically holding a runner on. They hop off as I'm hitting the fungo, and then they're retreating to the bag. So they do have to work their feet work and getting some work in rather than just standing at the base and receiving. The last point that I'd make for you is with infield-outfield is to practice it. So especially early on in the season, we like to almost begin practice with taking IO. So our players will go through their stretch routine, their throwing routine, and then we'll go right into infield outfield, almost like we would do on a game day. So we want them to kind of have that feel. With NCAA rules, and if you're particularly in NCAA tournament play, there's very strict guidelines in the amount of time that you have to do your infield outfield. So we want to make sure that we practice that so that we can get in essentially all the throws that we want to in that time period. Build out a plan, have kind of your standard routine, but also be willing to adjust from that infield outfield routine, again, based on the day of the week, how many games you have, the time of year in terms of the season, and also just physically, how are your players feeling physically. Again, I hope this is helpful for you as you start to put together your infield outfield routine, and I look forward to sharing more information with you going forward. Again, I'm Ross Trachtenberg with Figure It Out Baseball.